Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.
I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on My Global Mind, I'm pleased to be speaking with Michael Wilton of Queensryche for the release of his new solo album, Whip Volume 1, that comes out in a few days, December 6th. Michael, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm glad you had the preview of the Whip Volume 1.
Yes.
And a lot of people are pretty excited about this, so thank you very much.
I love it. I'm really enjoying it. And the title alone for the solo album begs about additional installments. Do you think that'll be the case down the road?
Most definitely. I mean, I've been doing this for so many years, and I'm finally getting organized as far as my files on hard drives and everything. And so I have songs that I haven't used that go back, a few decades.
Wow.
Even more. So, and it's, I'm just at a point in my life where I just want to, listen to them, build them. And I've got a good group of people, that I'm working with, and just have fun and just get them out there.
With I'm sure hard drives, files and files of hard drives, how did you go about picking these 9 songs that would be on the album? Because you must be thousands of songs that you have.
It was just a matter of just grabbing a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then just making sense if how they flow into each other.
Got it.
A bit of diversity, and it's just these were just conveniently picked.
Which one would you say would be the oldest song, and which would be the newest song, if you had to guess?
I think probably the oldest song is "Turn the Page."
Okay.
That's from the early 2000s. So,
wow.
And the newest one probably would be "People Suffer."
That's a great song too. That's a lead-off track, so I really like that one. How does a solo album allow you to stretch creatively from Queensryche?
Well, I'm a creative person, songwriter, etc.
Yeah.
But anyway, I write music all the time, right? So, it's and a lot of the music that I write, that it just doesn't fit Queensryche for a certain reason, and it gets put by the wayside. So, the writing process has just been continuously. Obviously, I've been doing this for over 40 years, so. And it's just a matter of me of just, being motivated and, and organized and just wanting to do this. So, so now it's like, okay, let's give this a shot and see what happens.
Do you typically write with a drum machine? Are they complete ideas, or does it range from riffs all the way out to a demo that you want to present to the band?
Most of my songs are just, stem from a riff, that I wake up in the morning, I have a couple shots of espresso and, so I'm in that state, semi-caffeinated and semi-lucid, I guess, which works for me. And I just listen to the ideas in my head, and I just try and, get them translated to the guitar and then get it documented before I forget it. So that's what...
You got some fantastic riffs on this album, and I heard tinges of Queensryche. Obviously, you can't break out of that 100%, particularly on Glitch in Time, the solo. I really thought that had a Queensryche solo to that. Was that something that was pre-developed, or was that something more? Are your solos more on the spot?
That was, a lot of these solos, it's just that time of day, the way I was feeling. And I just build the solo. It wasn't preconceived that it should sound like this or that. It was just more of what I was feeling and how it fit the song, how it fit the tempo, how it fit the key, and how it fit the mood, that's just the way I do it.
So for a lot of the people listening, it doesn't sound like a Queensryche album past all the way to the 80s till now. This is a straight up rock album, and there's tinges of, I thought, grunge in it too. Is that fair to say?
Well, I am from Seattle, so
Yeah. It's ingrained,
you
right?
know, a little shameless influence, um, but yeah, I mean, it's a different animal, right? It's a different group of players, and obviously a different vocalist. It's not, you know, operatic power metal or anything like that. So this is just more hard rock and just you know music that is a part of me that I think people enjoy.
Yeah, I think fans will enjoy it. It's nice to hear this side of you too. I like that aspect of it. Um, tell me a little about the musicians. I know that you have Mark Winterman on vocals. You have Sonny Sudra, if I'm pronouncing that right, on
Hmm.
drums, and bassist is just Hodgy. Do I have that? Tell me a little bit how you meet those guys. Are you friends with them?
Yeah, I mean, it was burrito night, guys. We go meet and just had mutual aspirations, and we just eventually got to the point where I put it out to them, hey, would you possibly want to give a shot at doing a project with me?
Yeah.
And that's basically how it was met, and then obviously there was a building process. They have to accept the way I write, which is different for different musicians to
Mhm.
grasp and digest, I guess. But it was a work in progress and took a while. But once it started growing and building and everything, I think everybody got excited, and so now that we got this first one done, I think the next one will be a little easier for the guys, because this was a kind of a big step up, into
Yeah.
the game.
Did it sounded like, hearing that you guys are a group of friends, I kind of envisioned listening to it over and over that you guys were in a room studio working on this together. Was that kind of the case? It has that vibe to it.
Um,
Yeah.
when you're creating it, I mean, everybody was in the studio when Sonny was doing the drums,
Mhm.
and I think everybody was hearing how it correctly sounds, from a demo to the actual real, tracking of
Yeah.
the drums. And it's especially for Hodgy, because, I'm a stickler about being tight. I don't want this to be, a loose rock record. I want it to be, squeaky tight
Yeah.
and have a good flow. So I think, um, working with the guys, it's hard these days, because everybody's older, they got jobs, they got this and that. So there's a lot of file sharing. But then, when we came together and reviewed the songs, I think, that's kind of when the excitement really happened.
Yeah, you can tell there's a definitely positive energy on the album and enthusiasm when you guys were creating it. So I have to imagine that's how it felt when you finally turned on the red light and the record button.
Right. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to send some of these now more in a completed form to the guys. And then,
Mhm.
they started going, oh, wow, this is really going to happen.
I thought it was great. What I love too is that your guitar tone on the album was full and present. It had a lot of bite and definition to it. What did you use in the studio, and how does that maybe differ from what you use in Queensrÿche?
I mean, it was all Marshall, basically. I have an old Marshall JMP1. It's like a rack mount going into my old Marshall power amps. I have a 50/50 and a 100/100, and I would try different variations on that. And then I have one of those old Egnator that has the slots, for preamps, and so I had a bunch of different preamps for that. My old ADA MP1 was used a little bit, but primarily it was the JMP1. That's the one that gets the thick ballsy sound
Yeah, it
that
does.
I like.
What about the guitar? Which one of your guitars did you use?
Multiple guitars,
Really?
lots of ESPs. Um, it's a couple FU guitars, Dean guitar, and um, Gibson Fenders. I've got numerous ones for different sounds that I'm looking for, I guess. And so they were all out on guitar stands, and I just kind of grabbed the one that fits the song, basically.
Right. I haven't tried to figure any of them out to play them on guitar, but did you detune any of them? They sound very, like you said, it was very chunky, and very growly. Was it
Mhm.
detuned? Anything detuned on it?
Um, I think one is Reason to Fight. I have to go back and listen to that. A lot of these were just written, built, and then, okay, let's go. So I didn't, um, obviously in the sessions and in the files, I probably have notes on what keys they're in, but I think that one was detuned.
You did, yeah. My favorite track was Getaway. I think it's a great song, a great riff. Tell me about the creation of that song. Where did you find that in your files?
Yeah, I mean, it was a demo that I had that I really liked. And this one, was um, built during the pandemic, right? The whole COVID thing. And I was watching a lot of uh, Netflix those days. So um, I got this idea from a movie, and it was basically about this couple that is wanting to go to a different type of a vacation, and go
Yeah.
to a different place. And they end up going to a country that, revolution starts and
Oh, wow.
war within
Yeah.
starts. And, um, so it's kind of based on that and how they would try and get away and escape. And it's hence that's the name of the song,
That's pretty cool.
Get
Yeah,
Away.
the two-part approach. I want to get away on vacation, and then I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
That's one of my worst fears about traveling out of the country. That would be that you just, my wife and always wants to go to a foreign country, to Italy, to Europe, and I'm like, I just don't want to go. What happens if something erupts? How do we get out of there? And
Mhm.
so that's one of my fears that I have to deal with, but I'm working on it. Was that demo ever approached? Did you ever approach Queensryche for that demo, or was it
No,
just you kept it to
no,
yourself?
I don't think that song is, super dark, and progressive or anything. So it was more, um, most of the Queensryche stuff I write is, you in minor, harmonic minor, melodic minor, lots of not so many happy chords, and um, Getaway has a lot of major chords. So
Yeah.
it's something that's, when you're going for something really intense and introspective and you know wanting to uh I don't know, just make the gambit of key changes and everything that's comprised in a Queensryche song. This one just was more just a rocker.
Straight up, yeah, it's a straight up rock
Mhm.
song. Um, is there one song on Whip Volume 1 that best captures where you are now as a guitarist? Despite the demos, despite how old they may be, which one best represents your playing right now?
Wow. I mean, uh I think you know um drowning at daybreak. There's a lot of uh, big grandiose melodic things that are happening in there, and I'm a guy that looks for melodies, as well as riffs, and um, I think that one is I'd say the closest, that
Okay.
represents where I'm at. It could change every day.
Yeah.
It's all about the mood of the day. So, but yeah, and that one's really cool. That one's um, I wrote about an alcoholic vampire, or a guy that thinks he's a vampire, and he's drowning at daybreak,
Yeah.
in alcoholism. And but is he a real vampire? I don't know.
Oh, that's a great subject matter. I like that. I got to go back and listen to it with that perspective in mind.
Mhm.
As we talked about, this is straight up. Queensryche's more minor. This is more major stuff. Is there any music types of music that you want to explore in the future? Maybe that's outside the progressive, the metal, the hard rock that you would like to pursue?
It's there's so many hours in a day, but
Yeah.
I will tell you that, when I wake up in the morning and I have a couple of espressos, I tend to have classical music playing.
Hmm.
I'm always uh, I'm a big fan of Andre Segovia.
Okay.
I mean, his playing, to me, it's amazing. I know it's old and everything, but I love uh, listening to his playing. I'll put it on the media player as a playlist and play some Andre Segovia. And so that's something I think I love, and maybe, I don't know, a little more classical influence probably.
I got to check him out. That's pretty insightful. And I'm curious, this album. This was my introduction, obviously, to you guys into the world. I remember hearing this on a radio station, a local radio station. It blew me away, Queen of the Reich.
Hmm.
I'm curious to know about how you personally see Queensryche journey since this EP, and what do you think the band has learned along the way?
Well, I think, obviously you grow as musicians.
Mm,
And so first and foremost, we were musicians, not rock stars. And
yeah,
we were people that, cared about the songwriting process, and also the diversity, I think, it's something that Queensryche is really good about, as far as, not writing an album that sounds like the previous album. We
yeah.
always tried to venture in a different creative aspect, um, and but it's just been a an amazing journey. It's we Queensryche was on its own path and still is today. And um, I think it's bred, in the DNA of the individuals, and no pun for our last album, DNA, um, but it's just something that, the way we hear and perceive music is kind of our own special thing.
That's a great response. I love this album, as I mentioned, and the one thing that I disappointed about it was that there was only 4 songs when I was a kid, and I got this. Was it designed to be an EP? Did you have additional songs? Was it just financially not possible to record them all? What was the thought process of I'm not making this a full album? Because this is what everybody sets their standards to. As a young man growing up and wanting to put together a band, this is it, and write songs.
I think, it was back then, we were 18, 19 years old, so we still had day jobs. It was recorded at, graveyard shift hours at
Oh, wow.
Triad Studios. And I think we were just under a lot of pressure. I think those songs on the EP were the most, solid arrangement wise. So we didn't have a lot of money to sit there and try and create in the studio. So I think um, that was something, and back then we didn't know what it was going to do. we
Yeah.
we we came out of Triad Studios with a mastered cassette. I mean, we thought, yeah, this is so cool, we wrote our own music. And it just happened. We played it for a record store with a couple of people that got behind it, and next thing we're pressing albums and cassettes, and starting to do shows. And it's something that I think, like you said, we had other things that we were writing, but these were the first four that were solid arrangements. We had the song, The Prophecy. I mean, that was, and that got skipped over for a while until, it was, the record label put it on a version of the EP, back when we were doing Rage for Order. So, but yeah, I mean, and you got to realize back then, all this stuff happened, pretty fast for us. So, and we were writing other music. And so when we were touring, we were playing songs that had not yet been recorded. And, that was a bold decision on our part, because we had offers to tour. So you had to take advantage of that. And then, but yeah, the roots of the EP and everything, is it's it's just something that, it's like, my God, I was like 19 years old, and I'm writing this stuff.
I was probably about the same age as you when I was listening to it, and in a band. I was in a cover band, playing, and then we played it. Was
Mm-hmm.
was Queensryche ever a bar band and ever a cover band, or did you just go put together a band and go write and make this album?
Well, here's the thing: we were called the Mob before this, and we were basically playing, all our influences of, kind of the metal invasion that was coming from Europe and the UK. So we were playing other people's music, and it just got to a point where, we wanted to move on from that. We wanted to write our own music, and that's when the EP music was being written. But yeah, we used to play Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Scorpions. I mean, it was fun stuff. But yeah, that we used, but not a bar band, because I don't think we were old enough to play in a bar band. But we played like roller rinks and
did that too.
And things like that were
We used to sneak
all
into the
ages.
bars. They never proofed the band. So we had one guy who was a little bit older. He kind of took the initiative, and then we all just kind of walked in as 18, 19-year-old kids doing it. So it was fun. It's pretty interesting. Queensryche survived the music business, all the ups, the downs. But I think the reason why you guys survived is authenticity and doing it from an honest place and not being disingenuous to yourselves or to the fans. Is that how you feel about your music as you look back on your entire catalog and your entire career?
I think, I'm a person that doesn't want to follow the trends of music or what's exactly being played on radio or whatever, or being streamed or whatever. So I think I'm just in my time capsule. I'm on my path, and I think it's me. It's or the band. It's the combination of everybody's musical ability and the input, and that's what being in a band is all about. It's bringing everybody's influence together and building the songs, and that's where the magic happens, and that's kind of the fun part of it.
Yeah, it's very authentic. And I think you've really stuck to the guns of that since this EP till now. And I think that's fantastic. I never asked you, we've spoken many times. Was it a big blow to the band when Chris DeGarmo left?
Yeah, I think we, had reached a certain peak at that point, and he was, looking for a change of pace, and he was. I mean, you could see in the last album he wrote, he was talking about, flying a lot. So he literally, started going to school for flying,
Wow.
and to this day, that's what he's doing. So, but yeah, it was, I think we needed some time to just kind of refresh and see if we could go on without him. And But anyway, you know, we gave it our best shot, and
Yeah.
it took a while, and you know, now you've got all these different versions of the band, you know, throughout our career, and but you know, Chris and I were, you know, a great writing partner. You know,
Absolutely.
we just kind of knew what each other was thinking when we would, you know, write double solos or write parts for songs, you know, and just bounce ideas off each other. So, you know, and those were great times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it kind of burned itself out, and so. But you know, we're doing great right now. We're having
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
great time, and still, you know, playing the old stuff, but playing the new stuff as well.
Yeah,
So
and I've seen you many a time since. You know, I think I saw Rage for Order. I saw you open up for Ozzy in Long Island, and that was an incredible show. And I've seen you countless times continuously throughout the years. One of my favorite bands growing up. You and Eddie are the constants driving Queensryche. You guys are in the position to keep the legacy of the band alive. What's on the horizon? Are you working on anything new? Is there a new album in the works?
yeah, I mean, we have submitted a bunch of demos to each other, and you know, we're working on that. We hope to get Zeus, the producer, you know, to do this one, but basically, you know, we're in a situation of touring now, you know, post pandemic, where it's the bands have to tour a lot, you know,
Yeah,
and we do a lot of fly dates as well. So it's hard to pick a certain amount of time to
break
get
away.
another album done. But we are going to do another one, and hopefully we can get it started or recorded in 2025.
No, that's great. No, that's great. Well, listen, Michael, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. It was a really insightful interview, and I wish you the best with the solo album. I think it's killer.
Yeah, I think you know, it everybody that I've played it to says, all right, yeah, this sounds like the way music used to be, or
Yes.
you know, it should be. It's, you know, refreshing. So hopefully it's refreshing to everybody.
Well, we're going to put the link so people could order it at the end, you know, in the write-up that I do online, so everybody could get a good listen to it. So thank you again, Michael. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Have a
Okay,
great day. Bye-bye.
you too. Bye.
Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.